Now I want us to work on the authentication, right? It's going to be very simple and very fast because you would use Firebase and the Google authentication from Firebase basically to handle this, right? So yeah, and I also know that we have switched from Mac to Windows as quick as unexpected, but my keyboard there on the Mac messing around, so I decided to find a way to use my Windows. So yeah, let's just get started with that one. Alright, so I'm quickly going to go to Firebase. So I'm going to say Firebase, okay, Firebase console, or say the Firebase console. Alright, so as you can see over here, the Firebase console has been opened. Now, what is the first thing we want to do? The first thing we want to do is we basically want to add a new project, and then over here we can add the project name as Discord. Okay, so we can add the project name as the Discord with a triple S. Then um we can disable this. Then we can create a project. Alright, it's still creating. Okay, so as this project has been created, we are going to quickly go into it. Now, what is the next thing that we need to set up? We need to set up our authentication, right? So if we tap on the authentication, it says how do we get started? We just get started by clicking on this, and it says what? Google Auth, right? And then we enable this, and then after enabling, we can add an email and then save that. Okay, so while this is being saved, while this is being saved, now we know that we have Google Auth here, right? Ready to work, but in our project we have not set up Firebase, right? So in order for us to be able to set up Firebase, we need to go to the project overview and then add an app, and then that app is going to be a web. Now for the web app, let's name it Discord as we did before. Let me check my mic. Okay, it's working. So let me minimize this. So over here, I would say Discord. Alright. So I register the app. Okay, so it says we should install Firebase basically, right? So let's quickly install Firebase. Then as Firebase is being installed, we can create our firebase.ts file. So firebase.config.ts file. Okay, so with that, what we can do is I can come to the project root here, and then I would add the new file here, and I would say firebase.config.ts. Okay, but I need to put it inside here. Should be able to move. Okay, so Firebase is still being installed. Inside our firebase.cs, we just paste this thing that Firebase has given us, this text. We paste the text, we copy and paste the text here. We can clear this whole thing, but it's no worries, we can leave them like that. Now make sure you put these in your env files in case you want to um commit them to your GitHub repository and then host, right? Since it's going to be a public repository, you want to put these in your env files. Okay, so now that we have this all set up, we want to start working on authentication, right? Now I can just go ahead and start working on the authentication, right? And it would work as we expect it to work, right? That is no issue. Okay, but I'd recommend I'd recommend that we go through the documentation and then I walk you through how I was able to figure it out. Okay, so here, so Firebase, if I search Firebase docs, then I would go into the documentation. Okay, Firebase authentication is here, so let me just click on that. Let's not waste that much time. So we have Firebase docs auth. Then once it opens, you'd realize that I would have to look for the Google authentication on the side. So I would come here. I'll look for the web, and then here I would search for Google. So I've seen Google here. I'm just gonna click on that. Check my mic. Okay, it works. Then okay, I think I just clicked on Google. I'm waiting for it to load. Alright, so it's here, and so I'm quickly going to come down, and I can see that we have Google Auth Provider coming out from here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically copy this, right? Even if you don't get this whole thing, right? This whole provider thing here would all come together to form the authentication right around, I think it's right around here somewhere, right? So okay, this is redirect, but would you sign in with pop-up, right? So yes, so over here you realize that it would all have to come together with the auth and then the provider, right? So let us just set that up by just taking them at the beginning. So I'm quickly going to come here and copy the first line. Where's the first line? Yes, this one. Quickly going to copy the first line. Okay, then I would come down here. Let me expand the project. Okay, so then I take my const provider here. I'm trying to select that. Then I would scroll down and then paste. I'm waiting for Firebase to install so that we lose all these errors that are showing up. So over here that we have the provider and the app over here, right? What we can do is we need to add the get auth, right? So over here we go down and then take the get auth here. Get auth. Then we put a get auth over here. No, sorry. I thought it was a variable. So we put it here. Then we come down and add it. So export const auth get auth. So to export this, right? And then we are going to basically export this as well. so that we can use it inside our projects in the login and then the sign up pages, right? So now that we've been able to export both of these, you see this one, we are going to pass in the app, okay, so that it makes use of it, okay. So now that we've been able to set this up while it's being installed, let's go into our pages here, and as you can see we have the auth page, but we all know that most of the time the cards on the auth page seem to be somewhere in the middle around here, right? Since we know this, I want to make sure that over here I would create a new component called authUI, authUI.tsx. Okay, now inside the authUI.tsx, I'm basically going to create a wrapper that is going to put everything inside the login and log out, inside the login and the sign up component. I'm going to put it in the middle, so it's basically going to be a very simple card that holds the Google button, right? So in order for us to be able to do that, let's first of all use our RAFCE. Okay, it's the snippet is supposed to show, I don't know. Okay, so it's here now. So we have the auth UI all set up nicely for us. I just cleaned this because we do not need that, at least not right now. But we need that very soon. So over here we have children. We are going to use the children here, and then we have to set the type for the children, right? So there's a way we can do, there are two ways we can actually do this, and I think, okay, I don't think I've passed props anywhere, so I've not talked about this, but one way we can use is an interface. So we can define an interface, auth UI, props, okay. Then inside this we have what, children, right? We have the children, and then these children are going to be what, React node, right? Okay, so that is going to come from React. Alright, now that we know this, we can just take this section, and then put it into, so we can say something like FC, so functional components. So we are basically giving the type of the variable we just created, and then we are passing in the interface that we need to pass in for us to be able to handle our props, right, or assign types to our props. So over here I can say auth UI props, and then I'll simply close it, and you realize that it is here with no issues. All I have to do is pass in the children in between these divs that we have here, and then you realize that everything has all been fixed up and patched up nicely. And there's another way we can do it. Instead of doing all these interface things and all these type setting, right, we can simply, after we wrote the children, I mean, since it's just going to be one prop that we are passing in, we can simply just say this children is going to have the type of what, children being what, or no, I can basically copy this part. Let's copy this part so that it becomes fast. So children, and I paste that. So children being React node, and then you realize if I clean this, and I clean this, there are no errors and everything is just perfect as it was. So basically most people would say use the interface one, but I don't know, for me the reason why I'm using just this one for this particular component is because it has just one prop that is taking, right? So it doesn't make it look complicated, right? Or make it look um jumpy or anything like that, right? So yeah, bear with me here. So inside this, we are going to give it some class names. Now, what is the class name that we are going to give? I'm going to say that I'm going to give it an H screen. Then I'm going to say flex. Then I'm basically going to say justify center. Okay, justify center. Oh, come on. Justify center. Then I'll say my items center as well. Then over here you realize that we have what, children. Okay, so what this basically does is it puts all the cards of the authentication inside the middle here, but it wouldn't work just yet until we actually implement it inside the login section, right? So here we can see that there are some yellow things going on here because we didn't use the functional components package. So let's just get rid of that, and then it's all clean. Now if I go into the login side, the login page here, right, and we want to start working on it, basically what we want to do is let's go to this component here, inside here, and just clean that. And then over here, for the first thing that we are going to put in here, I'm going to control F2. So I edit all instances. Control F2, sorry, shift F2 helps you select all instances and just work with them, right? So if we had the previous div over there, without pressing F2, without pressing shift F2, and if I edit, okay, right now I press shift F2, but let me clean this up. And say sound like a P, right? And then over here I say, you see that it took some time before the other one started going on, right? Even if I start and write another P here, even if I write another P here and then I change, you see that it's only affecting that one P, right? But if we have, okay, let me clean it and show you. So we have first P here, first P tag, and we have another P tag here, right? Now if I work on just this one, and this one is changing, and I use shift, and I go back here, and I come back here, and I say shift F2, right? That means all occurrences, right? And I, okay, I'm coming. I think it's control F2 instead. Control F2, yes, all occurrences, right? And then I just change. You realize that it changes as we expect it to. Okay, so yes, that's just a little keyboard trick to speed up your productivity, right? So over here we can import the auth UI. So let's import the auth UI so that it places everything in the middle for us. Okay, so the auth UI is here. Okay, that is nice and clean. All right, now that we have the auth UI, we want to create a card, but we want to add a card from where? From shard cn. So I'm quickly going to go to shard cn, and then I'll go to the card section. Do we have a card here? We do not. I don't think we just have a button. So I'm going to come to the card here, and then I would copy this, and then I would quickly open. Okay, so it's already installed. It's done installing, so we can just, so I'll just paste this, then I'll add a card. Okay, so it's actually getting the card added. Whilst the card is being added, you realize that we have been able to install our Firebase app, and oh, why am I here? Okay, and its things are here, but it looks like we are getting, okay, cannot find module. That's weird. It should work. If we run into any errors, we would have to make sure that we fix it, but that's a little weird, but it will work, I'm sure. So why is it keeping long? Okay, I'm going to pause the video over here, but once the card is added, I'll make sure that we continue. Alright, so I'm quickly going to import a card. So here I'm going to say card. Right now, inside this card, I want to bring out the card header. So I want to say card header. Okay, then we bring that. Then inside the card header, I want to bring in the card title. And I'm going to pull that from here. Quickly pull that from here. So the card title. Then inside the card title, I'm going to say something like, so inside the card title, I'll say welcome to Discord. Right, let's add the, okay, so now this Discord, we want to give it a separate type of field. So inside, I'm going to say span. Then inside the span, I pass in the Discord, right? So Discord. Then over here, I'll just remove whatever is here. Just remove that, and then we should be safe. Now that I have the Discord in its separate part, I'm going to I can give it a class name, and then I can just say text indigo 500, and then we have that nicely done. All right, now that we understand how things are going now with the UI of our authentication, I'm quickly going to come down here and then pass in the card description. I'm going to pass that in here, and inside here I can say click here to log in. Click to log in, right below. All right, so now that we have this also set up nicely, we can come down under the header and then pass in the card content. Then inside the card content here, we can say we are passing in a Google button package, but we have not installed the Google button package. So let's quickly install that. Before we try installing it, I want to quickly shrink this screen up a little bit. I want to shrink the screen. Alright, okay. Okay, so then over here I can quickly split the terminal, and then I can install. Alright, so over here inside this card content part, we're going to use the Google button. I want to quickly check my mic because I've recorded this section for so long. It's like, I think like the set time now. I don't know, the microphone just keeps going off. Okay, it's working. So I'll just minimize this, and then here, so over here we're going to use the Google button. Okay, so it's a package that we are going to install, of which I've already installed, taking the previous video recordings of this same video, right? So what I did was npm I react Google button, and let's not forget the C, react Google button, and that should help you install the Google button that you need. I've already installed it, so there's no need. Alright, so now that you've installed it, let us quickly come up here and then say Google button, right? But as you can see, it's not being imported for us, so I guess we have to import it by ourselves. So in order for us to be able to do that, let's give this space and come and import Google button from React Google button. Alright, now that this has been installed, we should be able to see it appear inside the application. As you can see, it is saving. It looks like it wasn't responding or something, so it is saving. Yeah, it is saving. So once it's done, we should be able to see it in the page. Okay. Alright, this is taking quite a while, but it should be done in no time. Alright, since it is still trying to load and stuff like that, we can quickly move on to the sign up section. So what we can do is I can copy this one and I can move it over to the sign up section here, and I can just paste it and use Control F to say what I can just use Control F and then look for login or all instances of login, and I can mark the check case. Then over here I just have to pass in sign up. So I'll say sign up. But we all know that for this one I would have to change how it looks like. So when I bring the smaller U there, alright. So now that we have this, now that we've been able to transfer the UI from the login to the sign up section, in the next video we would move on to how to integrate the Firebase signing with Google into our authentication application. I have been through a lot of the drawbacks recording this video, because as you can see we have moved from the Mac to the Windows, but it looks like we're still facing certain drawbacks. So the videos are just being shorter and shorter, and they're taking a little bit more time to produce, but I promise you I would give you all the parts that you need to set to get your application running. Alright, thank you very much for getting to this point. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.